Shalom from Jerusalem. Today is December 19th, and it is also on the Hebrew calendar the 10th of the month of Tevet. And this day is observed as a fast day by Jewish people all over the world. This is the day upon which the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar laid siege to the city of Jerusalem, and that siege eventually led to the destruction of the first temple. So a massive ascent to the Temple Mount was planned for this week by Jewish people who were planning on converging on the Temple Mount to be seen there by God and to attempt to pray before Him on this day, a day of the mourning for the destruction of the Temple, as part of the cycle of reclaiming our history and positioning ourselves towards the redemption and the rebuilding of the Temple. However, the Israeli government, bowing to Muslim sensitivity, decided to prevent Jewish people from ascending the Temple Mount this week. The Temple Mount is closed to non-Muslims, Christians, and Jews, because this week is also, on the Muslim calendar, the feast of al-Adha, which commemorates the version in the Quran of Abraham's willingness to sacrifice not Isaac, as the Torah teaches, but Ishmael. And so, in order to placate and to assuage any chance of incitement in the presence on the Temple Mount of non-Muslims, the government decided that it would be best to close the Temple Mount. As outrageous as that seems, that the Jewish people are denied the opportunity to be seen by God at the location of the Holy Temple on a day like the 10th of Tevet, which is so important on the calendar of the Holy Temple, as outrageous and painful as that is, we have learned of something that is even more shocking. And that is that the Israeli government has acquiesced to the presence of Hamas on the Temple Mount this week. That is, the radio broadcasts that are emanating from the Al-Aqsa Mosque this week, the broadcasts of the Muslim festival prayers, are being broadcast to Muslim homes this week by the Radio Hamas. And those broadcasts of prayers are interspersed with the commentators of Hamas and also the call for incitement and indeed death to Zionists and to the Jewish people. This fact has left those in Israel who are dedicated to the building of the temple and to the return of authentic Jewish values to the land of Israel, has left us stunned and reeling at the complicity and duplicity of the government of Israel to allow this travesty of everything holy to Israel by the arch-terrorist organization Hamas. And in response to this occurrence, a joint statement has been prepared by the organizations known as the New Jewish Congress and all of the Holy Temple and Temple Mount movements, as well as the newly established Sanhedrin. And I would like to read for you this release, this joint statement with regard to the news of Hamas broadcasting from the Temple Mount. And I quote, "The contemptible and vile consent of the government of Ehud Olmert for the Hamas terror organization to broadcast from the Temple Mount, site of the Holy Temple, endangers and weakens Israel's peace and security. We repudiate and condemn the government of Ehud Olmert, a regime that continues to plot against all that is holy to Israel and against the Jewish people. As if the fact that the organization of Hamas seeks, together with the Palestinian Authority, to destroy the state of Israel altogether with all of its citizens is insignificant, now the Israeli government deems it proper to hand over the Temple Mount, apple of the nation of Israel's eye, to this despicable enemy to facilitate incitement and violence. Whoever cooperates with the Israeli government in its campaign to banish the Jewish people from the Temple Mount and close it before Jewish worshippers, especially on a day like the fast of the 10th day of Tevet, the day on which the destruction of the first temple began, Whoever does so is party to bloodshed, negates any chance for peace in the future, and fosters war and strife in this region and throughout the entire world. We call upon all nations who cherish freedom, upon all nations who believe in the word of God as manifest in the Torah of Israel and its prophets, to rebuke the government of Israel for its disgraceful treatment of all that is holy to the Jewish people before the eyes of the entire world. We believe with perfect faith that no scheme of this current government will succeed, and indeed, the people of Israel will yet dwell in security throughout her entire land. The Holy Temple will be rebuilt speedily on the sacred Temple Mount. No stranger will tread foot there, except in those places permitted them according to Jewish law and the Bible of Israel, enabling them to pray in the universal house of prayer, as it is written in the words of the prophet Isaiah, "For my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations." And the statement is signed by the New Jewish Congress, the Holy Temple and Temple Mount movements, and the newly established Sanhedrin.